Welcome to Wales for the final round of the 2008 World Rally Championship. The manufacturer's title is the prize, and once again, standing toe-to-toe, it's Ford and Citroën ready to slug it out. In the red corner, it's Citroën with the 2008 Drivers' World Rally champion Sebastian Loeb, backed up by the young Spaniard Dani Sordo. And in the blue corner, the reigning world champions Ford, led by the fearless Finn Mikko Hirvonen with Jari-Matti Latvala. A monumental effort is required from these two if they're to stop Citroën.
The instruction will be to try to secure the manufacturer championship, so we will see what we can do for that. That's the most important. It's more important than to win, and especially in this condition we'll maybe have to be very careful, so I don't know, we'll see.
We need to try to be first and second like we did in Japan, but I'm not going to go flat out on Friday. We're just going to see what the conditions are and how fast Citroëns, how fast they are pushing, and then push a bit harder if we need to.
But it's Citroën who have the edge in this title fight, coming in with an 11-point lead over arch rivals Ford. Just 7 more points will guarantee them their first manufacturer's title in 3 years. The venue for this epic contest is Wales Rally GB. Expect mud, sweat and tears, as well as fog, rain and freezing temperatures. So this is going to be the big test for multiple MotoGP champion Valentino Rossi, who's making one of his occasional ventures into the WRC. Look out for him in the Stobart Ford Focus. This motorsport legend will add an extra bit of spice to this intriguing event. And this is what Valentino and the rest have to face. 3 gruelling days in the Welsh forests with 282 kilometres of competition. Day 1 sees the return of some classic stages in mid-Wales, with days 2 and 3 more familiar back in the Swansea area. Also on the bill, we have an exclusive interview with the newly crowned world champion Sebastian Loeb. The drivers and teams give us their highs and lows of an action-packed 2008.
I never forget the feeling when you win the rally your first time.
Plus, we take a closer look at how the manufacturer's title race has swung from Ford to Citroën, and now to the final round of the season here in Wales. Sebastian Loeb gets the final event of 2008 officially underway when he passes over the ceremonial start ramp in Cardiff. Here to talk us through the opening day is Peter Solberg's co-driver and proud Welshman Bill Mills.
Wales Rally GB, day 1. 8 stages in total. Many of them have been shortened due to the bad ice and snow there on the recce. Just over 50 kilometres on the total of day 1, so not the day that we were expecting. Stage 2 is Sweet Lamb. Lots of crests and jumps, water splashes. Then we go into My Heron, a cracking stage, plenty in there, basically very, very fast. And then down to Walters Arena, which is a bit like a rallycross track around the lake. And again, designed for the spectators, but a great place to watch.
The conditions have worsened overnight though, and with the organisers unable to guarantee that safety vehicles can pass through the Hafren test, they've decided to cancel the opening stage. The first stage to be driven in anger then is the 4-kilometre Sweet Lamb, another test not run since 2000. Newly crowned world champion Sebastian Loeb is the first driver to tackle the sweeping corners of this mid-Wales stage, and the Frenchman already crawling through the stage on this icy surface. The driver's title secured, Loeb's focus will now be on scoring enough points to help Citroën regain the manufacturer's title from Ford. All 4 drivers competing for the 2 teams can play a huge part in claiming the championship, and after losing out to Loeb in the driver's title, Hirvonen will do all he can to assist Ford's challenge. Realistically, Ford need a 1-2 finish, but it's a cautious start from Mikko in here. The Finns struggling for pace on these icy conditions. An error in Corsica and an engine failure in Japan have meant it's been a frustrating last couple of rallies for Dani Sordo. Citroën only needs 7 points to secure the title, remember, so there will be no heroics for the Spaniard in Wales. A safety-first approach and a couple of points will do nicely for Dani. After a mid-season slump, there have been signs on recent events that the precociously talented Jari-Matti Latvala is back to his best. The Finn could be a real challenger for his second WRC win here on a rally he's competed on 6 times before. Latvala's 0.6 of a second off the time set by Loeb, the Frenchman currently the fastest through so far. The grip levels are improving a lot for the later runners, but it hasn't helped MotoGP legend Valentino Rossi. The Italian's really struggling on these icy roads, and he's way off the pace, almost half a minute down after stage 2. The star of the show in this stage is Sébastien Ogier. The young Frenchman recently secured the Junior World Rally Championship. As a result, Citroën have provided him with his first ever drive in a WRC car this weekend. And what a debut it is so far. He set a time 5 seconds quicker than anyone else to take the early lead. Few would have predicted a leaderboard like this of the 4 men hoping to help their team to the manufacturer's title. Only low features in the top 8. With the Frenchman holding just about every record in the book, it appears he has little left to achieve in rallying, and there's a lot of speculation about his future career. We caught up with him before Wales Rally GB to try and get some answers to the big questions, but first we asked him how it feels to be the 5-time world champion.
I don't dream every night from my 5 titles. I'm happy to have achieved that in my sport, but after that in my life it doesn't change my way of life. I'm still the same, and I'm proud of that, but I don't wake up every morning and say, okay, I'm 5-time world champion now.
He seems relaxed about his history-making achievement, so what is it that motivates him to get behind the wheel?
I like driving, and I like fighting and having some battle in the rallies. That's my main motivation at the moment, because I have now 5 titles. If I have 6, it will not be a big difference for my life than to have 5. So it's just a question that I like what I do. To win is always a good moment, and because you feel you've done your job perfectly, and you are very happy for you and for the team. But when I lose, sometimes it's difficult to accept, because I know I've done something wrong, or maybe the other one was better and the other driver was better. And that's sometimes difficult to accept. When you get used to win, I think the most difficult is to accept not to win sometimes.
But for how long will we see Seb on the top of the podium in the WRC? Recently he's been experimenting with Formula 1 and sports cars.
For sure, it was some very good experience between Formula 1 and sports car. Both cars are working with a lot of aerodynamic, but Formula 1 is one step over. The feeling in this car is incredible. The grip at high speed, the braking point at high speed, it's really impressive, so you have to get used to that. I think driving in rally is more exciting because you drive on every surfaces. You drive on gravel, on snow, on tarmac, you have some big slide. I'm sure that I take more pleasure driving a rally car.
He clearly loves the sport, but with mounting speculation over his participation, the Citroën team boss decided to clarify the situation.
Sébastien will be a Citroën pilot in 2009. His priority will be to be World Championship, but next year there will be only 12 rallies. So we say okay to him to drive the Peugeot for practicing, not racing, and it will be only Peugeot.
And after an extremely tricky start, the question is, can any of the Ford and Citroën Works drivers get back up the leaderboard? Mikko Hirvonen is already well on his way into the 18-kilometre Meijerin stage. Mikko has it all to do after a sluggish getaway in stage 2, and despite the nasty conditions, there are still some incredibly fast sections to negotiate. Glancing at the telemetry, we can get an idea of the challenge facing the drivers this morning. Mikko climbing up through the gears, and keep an eye on that speed on the right.
Oikein täys huomio, liukasjarru 150, oikein oiva. Liukasjarru 120.
In excess of 180 kilometers an hour on roads that are incredibly slippery. This is very brave driving from Mikko.
Lyhyt oikein täys aukeaa yli nypyn, liukasjarru 100, vasen hidas sisältä aukeaa yli nypyn.
Loeb was the only driver involved in the Citroën versus Ford clash to end the opening stage in the top 8. So as far as the title race goes, it's advantage for the French team at the moment.
Ouais, et triple. Sur gauche, ferme 120 000 longs. Et droite, 120 moins 1000 longs. Sur gauche, 130 plus 1000 longs.
Oh, but a big slide from Sebastian there, proof if needed just how tricky the conditions are. Loeb is more than 20 seconds quicker than Mikko though. It's not good news for Ford, but their second driver Latvala is beginning to make his move. The 23-year-old has clearly got to grips with the difficult conditions. He's fastest through my hearing so far and storms up from 9th to 3rd. And it's been a terrific start to the rally for young Norwegian Mats Osberg. The Subaru driver is already running in 5th, and with the second fastest time here, he's up to 2nd. A stunning opening day so far for Mats. As it has been for WRC newcomer Sébastien Ogier. The young Frenchman is Citroën's latest young gun to come through the manufacturer's junior ranks, and if this display is anything to go by, the team's future is in good hands. 5th fastest on stage, Ogier maintains his hold on the rally lead.
Et attention, Frank gauche 120 plus,
E.G. Anderson's another driver who'll be more than happy with his progress in rally so far. He's running around 4th, another strong time in my hearing ensures he stays there. So Ogier maintains his stunning run at the top of the leaderboard, but look at Latvala, up from 9th to 3rd and past Loeb in the process. But he'll need some support from his teammate. Kiervanen is still down in 11th. As these stages are 150 kilometres from Swansea, the crews are now arriving at the remote service at Bilf Wells. And they'll all be hoping the cars are still in good shape, as remote service rules state they can only use spare parts that are carried in the car. But all looks okay in the Sébastien Ogier camp.
It is a big surprise for me, because without experience, I think it is impossible to do that, but thanks to the weather condition, I have a good position on the road and I can see the line of the other, and I think it is like this.
Sebastian, it must have been very hard to be first on the road out there this morning.
Yeah, it's not easy, especially when you know that the first ice plate will be for you, and so it's difficult to take confidence, and when you begin to take confidence and you think the grip is okay, then you have somewhere a plate of ice, so that's really difficult.
Mikko, surprising times from you this morning. Is that cautious or is that a problem?
Well, we have to have a look. I mean, everything feels okay. So I'm really surprised the time was as bad as it was. So I just need to go as fast as I can. Absolutely cool mental now and try to catch people in front.
Valentino, it's been a very tricky morning for you this morning.
Yes, unfortunately I have to cancel a lot of kilometers in the stage, and it's a pity because was a good stage. But anyway, the second and the third are okay, so we enjoy a lot and we come back, so it's already a good result.
And a little bit of a spin, I hear, this morning.
Yeah, no, but it's a secret, it's not true.
There's an unexpected name at the top of the leaderboard, and the wintry conditions here at Rally GB are about to take their toll. The shock early leader is WRC debutant Sébastien Ogier. With the surface still too icy, the Hafren stage has again been cancelled, so it's straight back to the 4 kilometres of sweet land. And so far, Citroën are on course to reclaim the manufacturer's title. Sébastien Loeb begins the second run through Sweetland, running in 5th, only 8 seconds away from the early leader. Mikko Kiervanen won in Wales last year, so he'll be unimpressed with his under-par performance so far today. Mikko is currently running down in 11th.
Tosi liukas, jarrukuus. Nyt vasenlaita, 3 oikein nopea, tiukka vesi. Ja nyt liukas jarru 8. Oikein serpo takaviisto.
Whoa! It's a disaster for Ford, a roll there for Mikko. He's flipped the car onto its
Turn
roof.
it over, please.
The marshals quickly coming to aid the stricken Focus. The car is back on 4 wheels without too much drama. Let's take another look at that, a very strange incident. Mikko just seemed to lose the back end of the car when he hit the water splash at speed. It spun the car off to the left, and after clipping the bank, he's flipped it up onto the roof. The Focus has made it back onto the road, but after rolling backwards over the edge of the opposite side, he's now stuck in the thick mud on the road verge. The marshals are calling for more manpower from the nearby spectators. Only in rallying can the fans get as involved as this to the action. Danny Sordo's running 2 minutes behind the Finn on the road, and he's now arrived at the scene. Mikko's still stuck fast, but with Sordo past, it's looking better and better for Citroën. Using Virtual Spectator, we can attempt to analyse what went wrong there for Mikko by comparing the Finn's approach speed to Loeb's as they arrive at the water splash. The red lines will indicate when they apply the brakes, and Mikko is 18 kilometres an hour faster than the world champion when they reach the water splash. That was clearly the crucial factor that sent Mikko off to the left. The efforts of the marshals and spectators have finally got Mikko back on the move. The car doesn't appear too badly damaged apart from a crumpled bumper. The damage has been made in wasted seconds. By the end of the stage, the best part of 4 minutes have slipped away, and Mikko's plummeted to 44th. He's made it to the stage finish, but is quickly out to assess the damage.
Did you just get caught out by the water?
Yeah, I did. Now it happens, in the last rally.
G. Anderson is also moving in the wrong direction. It's all still very tight in the top 8. Even the smallest mistakes are heavily penalised. A stall here, and the Swede is only 11th fastest. It falls from 4th to 6th. The youngsters at the top of the leaderboard, meanwhile, are still just about managing to stay ahead of their more experienced riders. Osberg has managed to do enough to stay in front of Sebastian Loeb. While rally leader Ogier began this 4-kilometre test just 2.3 seconds after Osberg. Oh, but he's stalled as well. It's exactly what happened to Anderson. Fortunately, he stays in the lead by just 0.3 of a second. So the WRC's big names still struggling to overhaul Ogier and Osberg, who were separated by just those 0.3. Lower down the leaderboard, Francois Duval recovered some time to move back up to 7th. A quick check on some of the runners further back before we move on to the day's final stages. Suzuki's Tony Gardemeister is one of a small number of drivers who have experience of these mid-well stages, but he's been unable to break into the top 8 so far. He's currently in 9th. Henning Solberg would have hoped for a strong finish on one of his favourite rallies. But after struggling with gearbox problems, he's found himself languishing outside the top 10. MotoGP star Valentino Rossi will be relieved to have made it through these stages. The Italian clearly not comfortable in these slippery conditions. He's sitting in 30th. One driver making his debut on a World Championship event this weekend is 17-year-old local lad Tom Cave. The Ford Fiesta driver only just passed his driving test a week ago to ensure his participation in his home event, and he's clearly enjoying the challenge, leading his class by 42 seconds after stage 5. 2008 has seen the introduction of the control tyre regulation, meaning all drivers must use the same pre-selected tyre. This unprecedented system has played a key role in some of the season's decisive moments. Nico Hivens' disastrous puncture while leading the rally on the penultimate stage in New Zealand saw the end to his title challenge. Despite this, he's impressed with his time.
I think performance-wise, everybody has been surprised how well the tyre has been working, and it's been really good on tarmac and on gravel as well. And although you never know with conditions, so some rallies we just don't have the right tyre to go on, so I would prefer if we have more choices.
So it seems the teams are less impressed with the strict regulations, limiting choice when faced with extreme weather conditions as they are here in Wales.
Here with the condition we have, we should have studs or snow tyres that we don't have. That's a problem of regulation, not of Pirelli, I think. And but it's like this. But generally in the season, I think Pirelli performed well.
It's a good tyre, I have to say. It's a very, very good tyre.
I think overall the control tyre has been better than everyone's expected. It's just these unpredictable situations where you don't have the flexibility in order for safety and maybe better racing to achieve the goals that we wanted. So looking at the bigger picture, yeah, it's worked, but it's just probably as toughest test as this rally right now with full ice and snow and going out with a tyre that you might use in Acropolis.
we've had freak weather conditions. You know, you don't have the correct tyre, and sometimes it can be quite dangerous.
We should have an emergency tyre for extreme conditions. It's purely a rule change that we'd be looking for next year.
Wales GB this weekend, we've had some ice on the roads where in reality you probably would have wanted to use an emergency tyre, a snow tyre. Pragmatically, what you wanted was a backup solution, an emergency extreme weather solution, which is something that we're going to be applying already in Rally Ireland for next season, where there already is a thought of having some icy conditions, so there will be a tyre made available in the range for such an extreme occurrence.
Back to the action for the afternoon loop now, and worryingly for the two youngsters up front, they have the world's most successful driver in the history of the sport hot on their heels. Loeb's already secured the driver's title with a round to spare. He now has his sights set on adding a first Rally GB win to his impressive tally. The next man through is Jari-Matti Latvala. Appalling conditions out there this afternoon, and without that extreme tyre, there's next to no grip. Despite that though, Jari-Matti has smashed Loeb's time. He's 11.5 seconds quicker, and Latvala storms past the world champion on the leaderboard. Jari-Matti's time was so impressive he could even challenge the leading pair here. Rosberg has fallen back with a spin, and there could be a problem for Ogier too. He's got a gear selection problem. And now he's slid off too near the end of the stage. He's stuck in gear and can't get going. Devastatingly, Ogier drops from first to 8th. It would be understood if Francois Duval opted for a steady approach following his accident in Japan. He's clearly still attacking. Oh, he's lost it in the gloom of stage 6 here. Taking another look, he loses grip midway through this flat-out left-hander. Again, the control time not ideal for these conditions. He was incredibly fortunate not to hit anything. Francois slips to 9th. Confirmation there that Latvala is the new leader, with Loeb now second as we head south for the final 2 runs through the short Walters Arena. PG Anderson slipped behind Mats Osberg in stage 7, but he promptly repassed his Norwegian rival on the final stage of the day. Chris Atkinson starts stage 7 in 6th, 9 tenths behind his teammates. Oh! Caught out on the ice in the dark. Chris said earlier that these tyres are not ideal in these conditions, and those words have come back to haunt him.
It'll take me less than time to...
Taking another look, he just drifts offline when he hits the ice. There's nothing he can do. He's sent careering into the bank at 160 kilometres an hour. Both Chris and co-driver Stefan Prevo appear unharmed, but Chris is taken to hospital for checkups as a precautionary measure. The car was absolutely destroyed. Latvala extended his lead over Loeb by 1.5 seconds on the final 2 stages, while Chris Atkinson's off means Danny Sordo moves up to 6th. Citroën have one hand on that manufacturer's title, as Ford are left to contemplate a day of mixed fortunes.
Certainly not the perfect day for Ford. Okay, it's great in one sense that Jari-Matti's leading at the end of leg 1, but an uncharacteristic sort of mistake by Mikko. But I'm relieved in one sense that Jari's leading and Mikko's still in there. There's still two difficult days to go. Certainly, if what we've seen today is anything to go by, then obviously anything can still happen. But certainly, championship-wise, it's looking quite difficult now.
In the wake of Atkinson's big accident, there are discussions between the team bosses about introducing an emergency tyre, but it's decided that there's no viable option.
Wales Rally GB 2008 Day 2, the longest day of the event at 129 kilometres. 3 stages repeated. Starts with the Resolven, a classic stage, very fast, sort of open forestry. Then a long drive up to Mid-Wales and on to the top of the military ranges on Epint, and you've got the halfway and Crookham stages. 2 classic stages been used before, but this year in the opposite direction to last year. Then a long drive back down to Cardiff and into the Millennium Stadium for the Super Stage.
Heading into day 2, Jari-Matti Latvala leads, but with Sebastian Loeb in 2nd and Danny Sordo 6th, Citroën are on course to reclaim the manufacturer's title. It's Latvala who gets us underway on the 2nd day, and as Phil Mills said, Resolven is one of the classic tests of Rally GB. Latvala begins the 2nd morning just under 13 seconds ahead of world champion Sebastian Loeb, but with Ford's hopes in the manufacturer's championship now hanging by a thread, it's crucial that Jari-Matti stays there. With Citroën only needing 7 points to secure the title, the second place that Loeb currently holds would be enough. But as we saw yesterday, the icy conditions in Wales this year have made the roads very treacherous. Anything could still happen. And for the first time in their debut season, Suzuki have one of their drivers in a podium position. E.G. Anderson has again looked very quick early on in Resolven, but suffers a few wild moments later on, and his pace has suffered as a result. And Mats Osberg is already in trouble. He's spun in this stage and is also reporting an engine problem. It looks as though we could be seeing plenty of movement on the leaderboard again this morning. With two of the top four hitting problems, we could see some more established names make big gains, and Danny Sordo has been incredibly quick through the early split times. The Spaniard is fast approaching the marker at 21 kilometres, and using Virtual Spectator, we can see how he's compared with Latvala and Loeb. No sign of the others at the moment. Look at this. His two rivals already a long way behind him. This could be a stunning start to day two for Danny and co-driver Mark Marty. Loeb trailing by over 6 seconds. And Latvala is a massive 15.7 behind at the moment. And joining Jari-Matti now, he's sliding his way through the last few corners. Conditions not quite as bad as day one, but it's still very slippery out there. It turns out the Finn's lack of pace is partly explainable. He's picked up a slow puncture, but will it be serious enough to cost him the rally lead? Petter Solberg had been setting a very strong pace early on, but his speed has also tailed off a little over the later sectors. The former world champion does move up to fourth, though, following his compatriot Osberg's problems.
Keep into the crest, into 6 left long.
Sordo, meanwhile, is still absolutely flying. His teammate couldn't manage to get past Latvala, but incredibly, despite starting down in 6th, Danny could jump all the way to the top spot if he can improve on that target time, and he could do this. Oh, so close, but not quite. Sordo misses out on the lead by 0.8 of a second, but he has stormed up from 6th to 2nd. Latvala just managed to hold on to his lead then, but it's now Sordo who's his closest rival. The Spaniard just those 0.8 of a second back. Loeb falls to 3rd, while Anderson and Osberg have both slipped back. From the thrill of a first victory to the utter despair of a rally lost on the last stage, 2008 has been a dramatic year for the WRC. A year filled with moments of intense pride and other moments of regret.
There have been quite a lot of things happening, but okay, Finland when I crashed there was it's not the best.
Jordan for me and New Zealand is very good sensation.
Rally speed, and that's been the high moment. I never forget the feeling when you win the rally your first time, but actually it would be nice to win a rally again, you know. I'm missing that feeling.
And in Sweden it was my fault, and I don't accept fault from myself. So I was really bad in Sweden after the crash. So I think that's the worst point of the season for me.
I think being on the podium in Finland was the highlight, even though we weren't quite on the pace. To come back like we did and then to get on the podium in a rally like that is something special. I was really happy and really felt satisfied with where my rallying was at.
Victory in Finland was really a good moment because it's a few years now I try and I never reached it, so especially after the fight I had with Mikko to win this race for only 9 seconds, that was really a great moment.
I think victory in Turkey, that was a really nice rally and good fight all the way to the end. We were fighting for the win all the way to the last stage and then just finally got it, and we got even 1-2 for fourth, so that's been one of the highlights.
I have so-called Black August, 3 accidents in the row: Rally Finland, Rally Deutschland, then Rally New Zealand.
We went in there, was it 1st, 2nd and 5th overall, and we came out with, was it 3rd overall at the end and just the 1 car left.
Japan with the 5th place there, and really good drive on Sunday in the slippery conditions, so we try to bring the same speed and the same feeling over here now.
Back to the frozen forests of South Wales, and we just heard that Latvala's missing that winning feeling. He's currently on course to claim his second victory, and the Finn is first into the following two stages. Latvala was just 17 when he tackled these roads for the first time, so with 6 years worth of experience here, this was always expected to be one of his strongest events of the season. Wide sweeping roads through this more open area here. Amazing commitment from Latvala, and he's absolutely on the limit again. It's becoming a very tight contest among the top three drivers. It's anyone's rally at the moment. Sordo, though, couldn't maintain the same speed. The Spaniard 16 seconds off the pace in stage 10, falls back down to third. And slipping adrift of the podium places is Petter Solberg. The Subaru man hasn't made the impact on this rally he would have hoped to, and by the end of stage 11, Petter's always half a minute away from Sordo.
6 left bus of a crash, 40 turn, tight hairpin right.
Solberg has done enough though to keep his fellow countryman Mads Osberg at arm's length. Driving the old shape Impreza, Mads is again involved in a position with PG Anderson. Having started the day down in 29th, meanwhile, Mikko Hirvonen has begun the long struggle to claw his way back into the points. He's making good progress, up to 13th by the end of the morning loop. So Hirvonen not troubling the leaderboard, where Latvala holds that 8.9 second lead over Loeb, with Sordo another 8.7 seconds back. Further down, Osberg is 5th, just ahead of PG Anderson. Cars receiving a well-earned wash as they arrive back at the service on the Swansea waterfront. There's a gearbox change for Petter Solberg, but after his frightening crash, Chris Atkinson has thankfully been released from hospital.
It was the first corner after the start, which is normally a flat left every year. We've done it for years, and came down flat in 6th. I think we're up to 160k an hour, turned in, and game over. It was sheet ice on those tyres without any information. We try and drive as fast as we can, and that's the way it is in these conditions, and I was just the first one to get caught out. It was the biggest crash I've ever had by a long way.
Back out to the classic Resolven stage next, and with the top three positions very finely poised, let's rejoin the rally leader as he seeks to pull away from the Citroens. Away he goes, the Focus scrabbling for grip on this wet, muddy surface. Jari Matti has been displaying his breathtaking speed again this weekend, and a chance now alongside the four-man crew Resolven. A much twistier section through the trees here. Latvala proving again his love for the sideways action, but he hit something there, looking a little bit ragged again here.
Jatkuu oikein 1. Jatkuu nyt vasen 1.20. Vasen 2 kirraa pitkä. Jatkuu nyt oikein 4 liukas ehkä rytky. Siis jatkuu nyt oikein 4 liukas ehkä rytky. Jatkuu vasen 2 yli nypyn kirraa 5 yli hypyn äkkiä tosi liukas. 20 jarru oikein 6 liukas. Jatkuu oikein 1 liukas 20 jarru oikein 6. Siis 20 jarru oikein 6. 160.
Loeb begins this stage under 9 seconds behind Latvala. Will this be the point we see the world champion make his charge? With his team's title at stake, he can't afford to push too hard, but he really wants this victory. Loeb is quicker in here, but only by half a second. The top two positions remain the same for now. The Citroen team may have asked Sordo to ease off his pace this afternoon. The Spaniard is effectively the team's insurance policy in the Manufacturers' Championship. Should Loeb hit problems, either of their drivers finishing second would secure the title. It's crucial that Sordo stays on the road. Something under the car there. Thankfully, he's got away with that. Sordo can't afford to back off completely, though. Petter Solberg is still not too far adrift in fourth.
30. Black crest, 120.
And the Norwegian makes up 4 seconds on Danny in this second, and Resolven with the third fastest time. PG Anderson, meanwhile, is still very much in touch with Mads Osberg. But after stalling at a vehicle, he only manages the 10th fastest time here and remains in 6th for now.
Öppnar en lång
This is how they stand then after stage 12. Latvala still leads, now just 8.4 seconds ahead of Loeb, with Sordo more than 21 seconds away from the leader. Before we rejoin the fight at the front, let's run you through some of the action further back. Former leader Sebastian Ogier had hoped to move back up the leaderboard this morning. He started down in 9th. The icy conditions on stage 9, though, soon ended his run.
50 mètres au frein droit sans moins.
Et voilà.
Taking another look, you can see him lose control when he hits a patch of black ice. From that moment on, he was a passenger. We've seen plenty of offs today. Routenback was another to be caught out at exactly the same corner.
70 down. Late, 2.
Whoa! And the same corner also ends the day for PWRC driver and two-time British champion Mark Higgins. That mistake severely denting his hopes of another national championship. While the ever-helpful British fans then using a tug-of-war technique to drag his car from the ditch. MotoGP champion Valentino Rossi, meanwhile, has steadily moved up the leaderboard by the end of this second run through Resolven, trailing in 16th. On to the final 2 forest stages before a trip down to Cardiff for the Super Special, and the fight for the lead is showing little sign of easing up. But does Jari-Matti Latvala even want to be in the lead for the stages on day 3? The first runner on the road could be facing the iciest conditions. There's no sign of backing off through here. Loeb set another fastest time on stage 13 to see him close up to just 2.4 seconds behind the leader. The world champion is pushing as hard as he dares in stage 14. He needs to beat that target time to edge into the lead, but he's already passed it. Loeb perhaps easing off there, so he remains second, and he's now over 10 seconds behind the leader.
I think Jari-Matti was really fast in this one because I had a good drive, I think, but maybe a bit too much cautious on the ice sometime, and finally I lost a lot of time.
Mats Osberg's fine run is over, meanwhile, after sliding off the road early on the day's penultimate test. All that remains on the second day is a short blast under the roof of the Millennium Stadium. It's the perfect way to bring the sport to the people. The organisers have put on a terrific show for the thousands of fans packed into this impressive arena.
Come on, Cardiff! Into the stadium, the rally leader!
The stage should be a formality, although there is a late scare for rally leader Jari-Matti Latvala, with an overheating clutch causing some concern. The stage is cleared okay, though. Relief for Jari-Matti. He did lose a few seconds. His lead at the end of the day reduced to 7.3. Sordo sitting comfortably in 3rd. So barring disaster, Citroën should close out the manufacturer's title, making Latvala even keener to give Ford the consolation of the event win.
Jari-Matti, what have you got to do for that win tomorrow?
Drive fast, keep the car on the road, no mistakes.
Are you a little bit nervous?
A little bit, you know, the weather is making me nervous because it will be -degrees overnight, and means that there will be frost in the morning on the road probably, and it can be very, very tricky, so you need to find a good rhythm on there.
Latvala leads, but with the 2 Citroëns behind him, the manufacturer's title looks like it's heading back to the French team. Rally GB is based in Wales, and the stages might be wet and muddy, but it's an area that boasts some of the finest countryside to be seen in the United Kingdom. 2/3 of the population live in the south. The port of Cardiff is the main focal point, with the striking Millennium Stadium providing an impressive location for the Super Special.
Wales Rally GB Day 3. 2 stages repeated, just 4 stages on the Sunday. Starts at Raiola, which is the only stage which is exactly the same as previous years. Starts uphill, climbs all the way to the top of the mountain, usually shrouded in fog. If there is any fog around, it always seems to be here. Then we cross the road and go into Port Talbot stage, opposite direction to last year. It has been used in a similar format to this in the past. Natural forest, really twisty, really slippy. So a classic stage. It couldn't be a better one to finish the championship.
It's the last day of the last rally of the season, and what a finish we have in prospect. Just 7.3 seconds separate the most successful driver in the history of the sport and this man, Jari-Matti Latvala. Day 3 of Rally GB is underway then. As expected, there's a lot of ice around. Vaughan, the rally leader, already in trouble. I think he's got away with that, but conditions clearly extremely slippery. You can see how much frost there is on the surface. We can expect a determined display from world champion Sebastian Loeb as he seeks to claim his first ever Rally GB victory. And Loeb too, understandably, trying to mix caution with speed on these icy opening stages. Sordo has been instructed to ensure he makes it to the finish line to give Loeb the chance to chase down Latvala. He has almost 25 seconds in hand ahead of Petter Solberg. Rejoining Loeb now, who is, of course, also hoping to beat his own record of 10 wins in a season this weekend. And a big slide here. He's lost a little momentum late on in this stage, but he should still make up some time on Latvala. He's definitely going to be quicker. Yes, a great start to the day for the world champion, over 5 seconds closer to the leader. The gap now down to 2.2. PG Anderson, meanwhile, begins the final day in 5th, the same position he finished in Japan. But the Swede will need to keep one eye on the times of Henning Solberg, the Stobart 4 driver, closing to just over 11 seconds of PG by the end of stage 17. Loeb's push has continued. Another fastest time and another 8 seconds shaved off Latvala's lead in Port Talbot. The world champions now only 1.4 behind. So how much of an advantage has it been running second on the road?
He's first on the road. You look ready to follow his lines. You think he's driving particularly well?
It's not a lot of lines, and when I see his lines going in the ditch, I go in the same ditch because it's too late. So,
with 2 stages remaining, we're all set for one of the closest finishes of the year. Latvala's hanging on by the smallest of margins. It is, though, looking more and more like the Finns' efforts will come too late to stop Citroën from reclaiming the manufacturer's championship. The fight for the manufacturer's crown has been intense. After Sebastian won in Monte Carlo, Ford seized the initiative in Sweden with Jari-Matti Latvala's first WRC victory. By mid-season in Turkey, Citroën had closed the gap. Ford hit back with the perfect reply, 2 top places on the podium. The Ford drivers' home event was next up, but Sebastian Loeb struck a huge blow for Citroën. Victory here, closing the gap to just 3 points. Citroën turned the screw in Germany, maximum points and a mistake by Latvala, coaching them in front for the first time since Monte Carlo. The crucial rally of the year was New Zealand. Loeb had an early escape, but on the penultimate stage, Latvala in second hit a bank, and Hirvonen span out of the lead. Citroën grabbed 18 points. Only for Ford to get up off the canvas in Japan and keep the fight alive until GB. With only 2 stages remaining, though, and Citroën only needing 7 points, with both their drivers in the podium places, the manufacturer's title is almost within their grasp. It's been a really strong finish to the season for Suzuki, and PG Anderson in particular has put in outstanding displays in Japan and again here in Wales. With Henning Solberg retiring in this stage, his 5th place looks safe. Henning's misfortune has also allowed Francois Duval to move up to 6th on what must have been a difficult weekend for the Belgian after his accident in Japan. But back to that relentless fight at the front, and Jari-Matti Latvala is coming under increased pressure. He's given it everything, and he hold off the determined Sebastian Loeb. Already having closed up to less than 1.5 seconds behind the leader, the world champion is giving it one last attack to make it the perfect finish to another record-breaking season. And looking at his time, he's on course to take the lead here. Yes, a breathtaking effort from Sebastian. He's 9.2 seconds quicker than Latvala and now leads by almost 8.
We're hearing you've got a jump start.
No. No. Jump start. I think it's wrong, but because I'm sure from my start. Huh? Okay.
Loeb's satisfaction of moving into the lead was indeed short-lived. As we just heard, he's been given a 10-second time penalty for jump starting, so he's back in second and has to do it all over again on the final stage. The 20 kilometres of Port Talbot then will decide the outcome of the final round of 2008. Latval has been given a late reprieve following that dramatic and controversial time penalty, but can he take advantage? He's shown us at times this year glimpses of his undoubted speed, but to beat the all-conquering Loeb would be a real marker in the 23-year-old's career to date. He's given it everything in this final stage, but has it been enough?
It's 16 Ks. Sebastian's 4.5 quicker than you at the moment.
It doesn't look good. I tried the game as fast as I can, and but better I can't drive. If I'm losing this rally now, it's the better will win.
All Latval can do now is sit back and wait. Loeb, still fuming at what he feels was an unjust time penalty, is determined he'll take the win anyway. This really is too close to call. Still on maximum attack towards the finish line. He could do this. Yes, an incredible finish to the season. Loeb claims victory on the very last corner of the very last stage.
You've won by 2.7.
It's his first ever Rally GB win, and he becomes the first driver to claim 11 victories in one season.
Yes, Sebastian! What a good start that is. The old gentleman, and he's done a great job this weekend, Sebastian.
Today it was really a good fight, so it was very exciting to fight with Jari Matti. It was per second every time. Jump start in the stage before. So yeah, finally I tried everything I could in the last one, because for me I started with 2.2 behind, and finally we won, so really good.
After the rally, Loeb's 10-second time penalty was actually rescinded, but it made no difference to the result. The Frenchman had already made his point, winner by almost 13 seconds in the end. A fine effort from Latval, but ultimately the Finn fell just short. So Loeb takes maximum points, Sordo an impressive third, with Solberg fourth.
Olivier, a bit of a nerve-wracking ride, but congratulations on the Manufacturers' Championship.
We are very pleased. I'm very pleased for Sebastian. You know, because in this year it was the 11 victories, the World Championship for the pilot, for the manufacturers. Sebastian win in Finland, in WRC. I don't know what I can say. And the Junior Championship, we say La Totale in France.
Sebastian, is this your best ever season? 11 wins and victories in Finland and GB.
One of the best for sure, because it was a great fight all the season with Mikko for the championship, and today it was a very difficult rally, because to win like this, it's always a great feeling to win a rally in the last stage with 2 seconds, so that's incredible.
The final standings then for the 2008 season. Confirmation here that Citroën have reclaimed the manufacturer's title, beating Ford by 18 points. Subaru again finished third. And Loeb's 11th win of the season ensures he finishes 19 points ahead of his closest rival Hirvonen, but by finishing 8th here, the Finn can take some consolation in becoming the first ever driver to score points in every round in a season. Elsewhere, there were celebrations for Andreas Aigner after a season-long battle with Juho Hänninen. The Austrian took advantage of a final round slip-up on his rival, with second place in Wales in his category. He claims the 2008 production WRC title. The Abu Dhabi spirit of the rally in 2008 has encompassed acts of bravery from co-drivers and emergency services, as well as impressive feats from drivers and teams. And in Wales Rally GB, the final Abu Dhabi Spirit of the Rally Award goes to MotoGP star Valentino Rossi for his support of the Children in Need charity, with a fine drive to finish 12th. That's it for 2008, but check out WRC.com, powered by EasyNet, for a chance to look back at Loeb's record-breaking season, as well as Citroën's charge for the manufacturer's title. There's views from all the drivers and the teams, as well as a detailed review of the first season of the Control Tower. But here in Wales, it's Loeb celebrating his record-breaking 11th win of the season and Citroën's 4th manufacturer title. Loeb and Citroën have claimed the honours as we leave you with some great memories of what's been another terrific season in the World Rally Championship.